Dear Minister Bonetti, dear Madam Secretary General of the Council of Europe, Excellencies, young delegates, participants of the conference. I am grateful to you for the opportunity to speak at such an important meeting on the occasion of the new era in the rights of the child. We in Ukraine have something to tell in this respect, and unfortunately, these facts are not joyful. I know that there are children in this meeting room today, and the last thing I want to do is to traumatize them with my story. After all, no child in the world should face the war and have the terrible experience which unfortunately today's children in Ukraine do have. At the same time, I know that children today understand difficult situations just as well as adults do, and often children are wiser than we are. So, I will describe the situation in Ukraine in a way that both children and adults can understand, so that the truth will be heard, so that the truth will save everyone who hears it from war. As a result of the full-scale, unprovoked and unjustified Russian aggression against my country, which began on February 24, 165 children have already died in Ukraine. These were the same modern children as those playing on the playgrounds in European cities. They studied, had hobbies, loved gadgets, did not like broccoli. They had dreams and plans. But the Russian army came with its missiles, tanks and bombers. It started shelling their cities, streets, homes, and these children have lost their lives. Please stand and join me in a moment of silence in their memory. Thank you. Starting the war, Russian Federation violated the unalienable right of every child, the right to life, guaranteed by the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. In fact, all the rights of Ukrainian children have been violated, fully or partially, because it turned out that Russia does not care about all these rights. You may know from the news that the inscription "Children," made by civilians in the city of Mariupol on the asphalt near the local theater where they were hiding, did not stop Russian pilot from bombing. The inscription "Children" attached to the cars by parents who forced to drive past enemy tanks did not save either. Many cars with this inscription were shot along the roads of Kiev, Chernihiv, Donetsk and Kharkiv regions. Our children's right to treatment has been violated because more than 270 medical institutions have been damaged or completely destroyed. And now we are forced to take our children with oncology and other serious diseases abroad by special routes of life because it's currently impossible to safely treat them in Ukraine. The rights of children with autism, other mental and physical disorders have been violated because they are especially vulnerable in times of war. For a child with autism or in a wheelchair, even going down to the bomb shelter can cost health and sometimes life. The right to education has been violated, despite the Safe School Declaration. Over 300 educational facilities have been intentionally damaged or destroyed. Teachers conduct lessons remotely from bomb shelters. This is a separate heroic page in our history. Children in bomb shelters study to stay connected to peaceful life. And we thank the thousands of our teachers who continue to teach under such conditions. And about 4 million, half of our children, are internally displaced. They no longer have usual homes. Sometimes these homes physically destroyed by bombs. They do not have favorite things anymore because they stayed in those homes. No friends because they left, are lost, or dead. Displaced children who had a home and security yesterday now spend their days at train stations, in overcrowded evacuation trains, in refugee camps. Every day they see the confusion and despair of their parents, who try to be strong, but the children, of course, understand everything. And what is scarier is that now there are hundreds of children in Ukraine with whom we have no contact. We know nothing about their fate. They are with their parents in cities occupied by Russians or in cities that are being fought over. Life in such cities is a disaster. People who woke up in their apartments a month ago now live in basements under these destroyed apartments, without water, food, medicine, and the constant bombardment. Children of Mariupol, Kharkiv, Chernihiv, and other places live in such conditions now. I suggest you to read for yourself what life is like there now in the story of a 16-year-old girl from Mariupol who became an orphan. The testimony was reported by volunteer Vera Kust. The original is in Russian, which the girl spoke freely before the war and continues to speak now. This story is terrifying to voice and read, but it needs to be known. From the very beginning of the war, we asked NATO to close the sky over our cities, over Ukraine, to keep bombs and missiles from falling on people who were not hurt. Well, now I ask you to at least ensure the right of children to get out of a danger. They need safe humanitarian corridors, because now the enemy is shooting at civilian vehicles just as much as military ones. On behalf of all Ukrainian parents, I heartily thank the governments of the member states of the Council of Europe, the inhabitants of European countries, for the shelter that is given to our children in your countries. I know how much is being done in this direction. However, I would ask that special attention be focused on ensuring the rights of Ukrainian children to medicine and education, no matter where they are. It's important they go to school as soon as possible and receive medical care, including physiological care, after all they have been through. The Council of Europe strategy for the rights of the child for 2022-2027, on which we have gathered, declares the freedom of the child from all forms of violence, as well as the right to child-friendly justice. That is why I'm asking for help in securing such justice for abusers of Ukrainian children, international accountability for all those who dropped bombs and committed horrific violence, including sexual, against our children, who deprived Ukrainian children of their rights. Justice will come shortly, and today I will once again repeat the appeal of the Ukrainian people to the leadership of all states for which the definitions of children's rights and human rights have real content and weight. Close the sky. This will save the lives and health of hundreds of children. Close the sky. On the ground, we will manage ourselves. We thank the Council of Europe for its solidarity with the Ukrainian people who are suffering from Russian aggression. I wish everyone present here that there will be no war in your lives. But for this, we need to know about such a threat. The right to know is also an inalienable right of adults and children. Thank you very much.